Any economy is dependent on business investment that generates consumer spending. In Nigeria, this has led to the establishment of nearly 40 million SMEs. These SMEs, established with the aim of making profit, are also major employers of labor and equally contribute largely to the economy.
Nigeria has its way of defining SMEs, and in Nigerian definition, for me, I think it's small businesses with for small businesses, less than 50 staffs. For medium businesses, less than 50 to 250 staffs, basically. And for small micro businesses, it's less than 10 staffs.
SMEs are small and medium scale enterprises, and these are ways that the entrepreneurs in Nigeria and maybe other countries, developing countries, make a living. We have agribusinesses, we have service provision, we have product processing. So we have different types of businesses that people engage in, to fuel the SME sector.
Another name we call them is the base of our economic pyramid. Now, that represents about 90% of the number of businesses in the country. And they account for 48.7% of our GDP, the gross domestic product. And in terms of employment, they employ about 92% of the workforce. And so you wonder, if we have that kind of richness in the numerical strength and very rich diversity of businesses, and they create so much wealth, why are they not accessing finance?
The backbone of every economy is the SMEs, and then every government that ignore the SMEs at its own peril, it chose not to look at them, it chose not to finance them, it chose not to support them. It's at the peril of a nation.
In Nigeria particularly, SMEs have gone from being very uncommon to the norm. Right now, there's so many SMEs, in the different parts of the country where people are deciding that they don't want to settle for the 9-to-5 norm and they want to start up their own businesses.
SMEs are becoming a key in the country's economy, as their significance cannot be underestimated. The SME sector plays an extremely important part in modern economy. The vital contribution to SME in economic development and sustainable development in Nigeria is a reality unanimously recognized.
A lot of percentage of the GDP is gotten from SMEs. So these multinationals, they come in and then they have huge competition. They have to get their goods. Most production are done outside and then imported. But these SMEs, they run the production in the country and then they export. So it's good for the country, it's good for national development.
Small, medium enterprises are able to provide employment to several economies. You would find that the more businesses open, the more job opportunities are available to the average Nigerian, no matter how small it is. That's why it's very important to preserve and in every way possible empower our SMEs, create a very stable and conducive environment for them, because the more that they grow, the better opportunities for people to get work.
The need to advance the socio-economic, political and technological growth of Nigeria relies heavily on the creativity and technical ingenuity of entrepreneurs in transforming the available resources into optimal use. This growth must cut across all sectors of the economy and should reflect in the living standard of the citizens.
In terms of taxes, I pay tax to the federal government, Federal Republic of Nigeria, and again, in terms of creating employment, and in terms of scholarship, and in terms of training, and in terms of rendering services.
Since I started my business, I've been getting involved in a lot of forums and events that center around maybe students, young women, where we go and we speak to them and we talk to them about our business, our experiences, the challenges, just to be a sort of an influence to them and where they want to get to in life. That's a personal passion of mine because, it's a ripple effect when you are going through a journey and you are going back to kind of share your challenges, your experiences, because it's affecting those that are also on the come up and that are watching you.
Small and medium enterprises have been fully recognized by government and development experts as the main engine of economic growth and a major factor in promoting private sector development and partnership. The development of SME is therefore an essential element in the growth strategy of most economy, including Nigeria's. However, small and medium enterprises in Nigeria continue to suffer setbacks.
The challenges I'm facing, there are much, you understand? Like one is transportation, you understand? For this stockfish to reach us is very, very difficult. And the thing happens in a way that I don't travel anymore because I find it very difficult when I travel by myself. So now I prefer way-bill. You understand? So transport is the major challenge we're having.
There are plenty of challenges that the SMEs face, but I'm just going to talk about the major challenges they are facing, which is capital. For example, when we started our business newly, we faced the challenge of capital because, there's what the company does, which is the higher you buy, the lesser the price. And when we started newly, we were not having enough capital to run the business. So, when we went to the company to buy, they were when you buy 100 cartons, we give you, for example, 5,000 naira. But when you buy 200 cartons, we give you 4,800. But if you buy 500 cartons, we give you 4,500. You will see that some people will be selling the same price which you bought from the company. So, and that made us we were confused in the business because somebody will come as a customer, I want to buy pick me. We tell the person pick me is 5,000 naira. They will say no, that man is selling it 4,500. And it's true because he bought in bulk, he was given reduction. But because we don't buy in bulk, so we buy exactly what he is selling.
The access to finance is a pathetic story because we have a banking sector that just doesn't want to lend to the real sector. And they find every other excuse not to do so. From the earlier years when they were recapitalized, they focused more on banking with government, and then the TSA came and blocked that practice. They now moved into investing a lot of their resources to treasury bills, and now we are having a fight with the central bank, pushing them to increase their loan-to-deposit ratio, encouraging them to come and borrow the 4 trillion naira that they have, cash reserve with the bank, which earns zero for them, and saying to them, come and take this money, lend it to the real sector at 9% interest over 7 years with moratorium, and we're having resistance. So if you look at some report of the IFC, International Finance Corporation, which is a branch of World Bank, in 2008, it looked at the proportion of the lending of the commercial banks to the SMEs, and it was about 7.5%. Then in 2012, they looked at it again. It melted down to 0.4%. And I know that today it will be very low, maybe about 5-7%. But the thing is, if you don't lend to this sector, they cannot create wealth. And they have so much odds against them. And even then, the rate at which the interest rate is phenomenal. It's between 20 and 30%, the interest rate at which they are lending to the sector. So who is going to produce and manufacture and process at an interest borrowing rate of 20 to 30%? That's a big question.
The issue of continuity. In order for you to succeed in business, you have to be resilient and aim for a sustainable future. And we need to work on our mentality as business owners to not expect immediate rewards whenever we're investing in businesses.
First thing first, in Nigeria, we never really have constant lights. So 60%, or should I just say 70% of the time, we're running diesel. So that's expensive, you know. We also have issues with the road. Like when you're going and do a delivery, the roads are not as good as, you know. So sometimes you have to go like 2 trips, carry like individuals, go to the hall and stop. For the type of business I do, which is the cake, it's the bakery, it's mostly women that own bakeries in Nigeria, mostly. I'm not saying men don't, but mostly. And the only thing I'll say is challenging for we, the women, are like the man label. People that have bakeries with men find it easier. So some people will employ women in the first place, which to me is unfair.
There is also need to take a closer look at the contribution and needs of women-owned SMEs. For a number of reasons, facilitating the development of women-owned SMEs allows societies to capitalize on the skills of educated and trained women who may be blocked in corporate advancement because of the proverbial glass ceiling.
Besides being a family person, like mother, wife, I have two major things in my life: being a medical doctor and being a fashion consultant. Both I love very much and I have passion for. So it was really difficult dropping one for the other. And this started when I was in 300 level medical school. I had passion for sewing, and there was this small shop close to my father's house then where I used to go to, and then I had to get a space in the shop. The shop wasn't even mine, it was for a friend. That's to tell you how I really wanted to start the business. So I started with friends, colleagues, medical students, making simple wares for them. Then I grew. Then I got married. I had to leave my comfort zone to Abuja, which was quite tasky for me. Trying to settle in, people I don't even know, but the passion still came up. That made me to continue the whole business here in Abuja. It's not easy being a woman, being an entrepreneur, and sometimes see married women with children, and here I am today, like I'm an example. I think we're doing well because first, I believe women are even more focused, more determined, and more passionate about what they do, and that's what has brought me here today.
Newton's Mobile Cafe started in 2014 with my sister, Ehi. She was my partner back then. It started out of boredom. We both sat down in my dad's office and we said, okay, what do we do? And, that was the birth of Newton's Mobile Cafe. It started as a food truck. We were one of the first to introduce the food truck business to the Abuja market. And quite frankly, it didn't do well. In a day, we were making maybe 6,000 to 8,000. It was very discouraging at first, but then I didn't give up. So when the food truck wasn't doing well, I didn't just fold my hands and say, you know what, I'm done. I said, you know what, I like doing this. I have sort of found my passion, so let me push it a little further and open new doors. Female-owned businesses go through the struggle because, number one, people do not believe in your vision, and they think, na woman, she no go fit do that sort of thing. When I was putting up my restaurant, for example, I would have the male staff try and be disrespectful at times, but then I would quickly put them back in their place and say, listen, I'm going to pay you your pay per day, so I hope you understand that there is no man that is going to show up and give you that money. So please do not look at gender. I want you to do your work and keep it moving.
I started this business 7 years ago, but I was once a housewife, I studied religion and I read medicine and moved to microbiology because I couldn't deal with the whole cadaver thing. And I wanted to be an art student deep down, but my mom was just like, no, read medicine. So I got married and I didn't see myself going to do medicine. I just wanted to do art. And I found out that you can do that with cake. So over the years, I started taking classes. I was interested in this thing. I wanted to know why. I didn't want to bake like my grandma. My grandma used to bake. Well, I wanted to do something like Buddy, Cake Boss. I wanted to do something wow. So I had to go to classes for it. And I spoke to my husband and he was like, that's fine. And I started doing cakes for friends and family. And over the time, I didn't think I was going to be where I am right now. I started having calls. customers started coming in, and the more the customers tripped in, it's wanted me to be better. As in, I just had to, every year I have to go and upgrade. Every year I have to upgrade. And I think the biggest job I did was, I've done so many jobs, but I think the biggest one I was like, I've called my mother, I've made it in life. When I baked for the President's Day, Independence Day cake, so I was like, okay, now I have to take this to another level. And so far it's been good. I love what I do for a living.
As a female, you deal with a lot of naysayers when you own your own business. There's people that just don't believe that you should be where you are and don't even understand the reason for your growth and how you're able to end up where you are. And a lot of women just need to understand that it's okay for you not to be accepted or appreciated or let me say recognized, and you just have to keep going and stick to the goal. You need to have a lot of thick skin, because most of the time you will find yourself in a male-dominated environment, and you just have to stand by your vision, put your foot down as to where you would like to be as a business owner, as a founder or a CEO, and also not get carried away by the titles, because it's the work that actually counts, and it's the work that would sort of keep the noise quiet or keep the room quiet, let me say.
The United Nations Development Program, they released a report that said that out of 1.3 billion people living in poverty, about 70% of them are women. And this is because of the reduced opportunities that women have in thriving in the SME sectors. Some of the factors that could be adduced to this are one, they have a lower access to startup capitals, and this is usually found in situations where women business owners pitch their ideas to investors for early stage capital, and they significantly get lower response than their male counterparts. Another factor again is the low mentorship. So one of the things that the foundation is doing to be able to counter these challenges is that recently in Nasarawa State, we launched an inclusive representation resource center for women and physically challenged persons. We also funded the first training and capacity building project by sponsoring women and girls to acquire skills on tomato processing, as well as entrepreneurial training to help them to build their skills and turn these skills into profitable businesses. And at the end of this training, we also gave starter packs to some of the people that we trained, and we've been conducting monitoring and evaluation to see how well they are, growing their businesses.
Meanwhile, it is encouraging to know that Nigerians are aware of the impact SMEs have on the country's economy and are willing to give their support to these small and medium-scale enterprises.
It is just a way forward. It's the only solution to the unemployment in Nigeria. It is very, very, sometimes I had people saying that some people are expecting government to create jobs for people, to create jobs. Some people will be blaming government in the failures of lack of job. But the only best way that if government wants a great job to the people, it is to empower the small, medium enterprise.
Nigerian governments, with the body they have in Nigeria, they have a lot of agencies that can also help young Nigerians access loan. They can create the awareness so that people can also access loan. Who have this business initiative can also have access to loan to establish their business very well, so that they can also be employers of labor.
SMEs are gaining grounds in Nigeria basically because the youth of today are trying to make themselves useful and make gainful employment. So I want to think that the SMEs is the right platform that any youth in Nigeria right now should plunge into.
Nigeria remains a country with high potentials, but an equally high inertia to develop. It is a country with the largest market in the African continent, where investment opportunities are beckoning to be exploited. Yet SMEs are faced still with many bureaucratic constraints, making productivity of SMEs low when compared to other countries. A dispassionate appraisal would be that the SMEs should re-strategize the way the operations are carried out, and the government needs to realize that they need SMEs just as much as SME needs them. The actualization of both parties working together might just be the key to our economy, unrivaled by other African countries.
We have a huge thriving population, and it is time that our government, looks at what the youths are doing to be able to contribute to the GDP of the country. I would also like to see the government, giving out more loans to youths who are productive, who have proven their worth over time in the business sector.
As an entrepreneur, we could do more, actually, if we work together. And if the government intervenes, we could expand more. There are other times where I get to make some clothes and then it's choking. I could actually refer to a friend. So if we work together as one, I think we could do more. We could get somewhere.
More young people, more females need to step up and offer themselves to be to participate in government affairs. Government need to pay more attention to women, to create more activities, more events that involve us.
The security in Nigeria, I want to thank the police for but they need to help us do better. Asking us for documents and all of that, that's good, it's their job. But sometimes they should also be reasonable, like there's a delivery. If anything goes wrong with that order, we spend more apologizing to the client and redoing that order. So I'm not saying they shouldn't do their check, they should please do their check, but they should also be reasonable with us when we say, please sir, there's something in the boot. They can check to know if we're lying or not.
I would recommend that the government takes peaceful, good attention to ICT in Nigeria. Now, this is because businesses, a startup, anybody can start a business and get rich anywhere in the world if you have good access to internet. You can start selling anything and you can get clients from anywhere. We have to start educating Nigerians on the use and the importance of ICT. We have to let the government handle or invest in ICT.
That's it for today's program. Don't forget to follow us on social media at The Osasu Show, at TOS TV Network, at Osasu Igbenadian, and at The Osasu Show Foundation on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'll see you same time, same place next week. And until then, take very good care of yourself.